All right, 3x pitch biometrics. We're looking at Philip here at 75.8, and we're pairing up to Alhan and Miller, 91. So we're at 240 frames per second, 144 frames from this point, your delivery to front foot strike. Your speed is inches per frame. Distance from origin is going to be the back from the rubber, so every joint is being measured from that origin in inches. And then the XY position, X is just a horizontal measurement, Y is a vertical measurement. We're going to be following the lower half going forward. We're looking at 8 frames per click initially, so we can move through a little quicker. We're going to go to 48 frames up front. See the initial movement. And we can see your right hip is 12 inches from the rubber to Al's 17. So Al's is going more forward and down at this moment. You can see you're just squatting pretty hard. You can see you're 29 inches from the ground to his 36. Now he's 6'4" and you're 6'1", right? So he's got 3 inches of height on you. So it looks like you are squatting a lot harder. He's just moving a lot more forward, which is important because that's energy towards the target. So the key is to go forward and down the same rate so we can start moving forward, but when we can start flexing in that movement. So the moment we're ready to peak flexion, the force vector, the ankle knee is in a more linear position. You can see you're peaking flexion and your force vector is vertical. So you're just going to want to sit and kind of collapse from that position, or you could drive off early and then things want to go vertical. Let's see. Let's go to 96 frames. 96 frames. You can see Al's already into drive at this point. He's starting to internally rotate and adduct the hip. His force vector is, where is the angle? Is 42 degrees. Okay. Let's see what your force vector, I don't even think you have to measure it. It's pretty much straight vertical. So he's not only has more momentum, you can see he's 25 inches from the rubber to your 18, but he's in a position to accelerate that momentum through his back leg, which will help peak those forces, drive also more force behind his hip. You're not in a good position to do that. You're also a little more cocked at this point than he is. So if we follow back knee here, we can see how much drive is coming off that rubber. We're looking at speed here. You're at 0.14 inches per frame. Look, he's at 0.4. So he already has a lot of speed in his body. It actually might be a little too soon for him, but you have none. You're still stalled out on that back knee. So as we go forward, yours starts to come. You get a 4, a 5, a 6, and then it goes down to 6.5. Okay, and you can see you peaked it, and it isn't even driven at that point. That was its peak speed, and it isn't even pushed off the plate. So that was just speed to move the knee more linear. Let's see if it goes down and comes back up. No. So you can see it didn't allow you. So basically, it peaked before it even got linear. So not a lot of that energy. I mean, some of that energy pushed you forward, but it needs to be peaking closer to front foot strike. Let's see Al's. It looks like Al's. You can see Al's is peaking way early too. So I was saying his issue is peaking earlier than yours, but it's peaking at a linear position. Let's see what happens. See, his picks back up again. Okay, so his peaked off. Well, I think it didn't peak. I just stopped it because that thing kicked up. All right, so it hadn't peaked yet. So now it went up. Now it's coming back down. Okay, and then it's picking. Looks like is it picking back up? Okay, and then you see it really peaking as he goes into front foot strike. Okay, so Al's issue too is it's going kind of up and down. You're going to see more consistent high velocity guys are peaking at just going into front foot strike. So if you see the first time it really hits its highest on Al, which is 50 in the 5s here. Okay, so 5'6" and 109 frames, so still very early. Same for you. Okay. And then at front foot strike here, it's pretty much gone down. See, for Al, front foot strike here. His starts actually picking up late because that's all that momentum coming off the rubber into front foot. That's where he's transferring weight a little early, so it's kind of pulling him off a little early. So both of y'all could be more efficient. Yours force vector is just way late, and you're not getting a lot of power. Well, I mean, I think yours is the same thing. It's probably actually y'all are kind of doing the same thing. So it's like an early transfer of momentum, and then that back leg kind of catches up at the end, like y'all are both doing here. Okay. So the only thing he did better is he got more momentum earlier. So if we look at his stride length, I mean, 98 inches, that's pretty insane. Yours is 72. So him just having more momentum, and he's a bigger mass than you. He weighs 230. Okay, what do you weigh? 195. So he's got like 40 pounds on you. So he's, you know, if a guy weighs 40 pounds more than you, you should be moving faster than him. And in some cases, he had more speed than you. He had more momentum early. So that's what carried him that distance. Now his stride is a little long, and it's because he's transferring a little early. But you can see a lot more momentum going into front foot. So let's see hip to shoulder separation wise. Okay. Front foot strike, your shoulder orientation, left shoulder. Now the X position is anything to the left of the origin is a minus, anything to the right is positive. So if it's a positive, then we know it's to the right. So your left shoulder is 4 inches to, say, the right of the origin. So if we look at the left shoulder, it's also 1 inch. So there's about 2 inches of your shoulders being open. So I'd say your shoulders are in line at this point. Now your hips about 7 inches to the left of the origin, to the shoulders to 1. So about, you know, you could say about 6 inches of separation. Let's look at Al. Sorry, the thing's not calibrated. 1 second. That was actually jumped ahead. Okay, so front foot strike for him. His left shoulder was 7 inches, but he's landing more across his body now. So he's 14 inches across his body to your 1. So I want to see about 7 inches. So you're a little bit too open where you're landing, and he's too closed. Okay. With that, his left shoulder is -7. His right shoulder is -7. So his shoulders are in line, and he's about 7 inches more. Actually, he's 13 inches more across his body than you. As far as back hip to back shoulder, about 7 inches there. So y'all are similar in hip to shoulder separation. It looks like you have more contralateral tilt. So your trunk is more leaning to your arm side. About 5 inch or 5 degrees, 3 degrees. His is probably almost even ipsilateral. He's a more 3/4 guy, sometimes sidearm. Okay, so you're doing good. Hip, you know, there's correlation of contralateral tilt to ball speed. You don't want to go excessive though, past 25. If you go, we take you to maximum external rotation. You're at 18, so you're pretty good. If he goes to maximum external rotation, he's actually it's wrong. He is. What is it doing that? It's weird. He is 11. Okay, so you maintain a better trunk position than him, but he, like I said, he gets more in that sidearm slot. So he landed more closed. Y'all are similar shoulder orientation, similar hip to shoulder separation. Just you're holding more contralateral tilt, so that's a plus. Let's see how you stabilize your front leg. He's 80 inches from the rubber with the left knee. You could go just 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, and then comes back 1 inch. Yours just 1 inch and comes back 2 inches. Okay, so better front leg with him. So I'm seeing way more momentum, longer stride length. Let's even look at the hip rotation of him compared to you. His hip rotation peaks. His hip rotation's late. That's just because he transferred early. But going in front foot strike, no, peaking, still peaking, still peaking. So see, his hips are just traveling for too long. Early transfer. Yours are probably going to do the same. Peaks up to an 8.4. Your hips. Okay, yours peaking higher and earlier, which is good. So then we saw more momentum, similar on separation. You had more contralateral trunk. He had more. No, you had more stabilization of the front leg. Let's see how the trunk goes. A lot of times this is the determining factor. Okay, let's see it, front foot strike. His trunk is 62 inches from the rubber, going 0.84 inches per frame. So you can see yours is at 48, going 0.6. So his trunk is going faster than yours at this point. And let's see, 62. It continues decent speed. Holds at 5, which is pretty good. Okay. He goes to 85, so 62, 72, 82. His went 23 inches. Okay, it's pretty impressive. You're 48 at 0.68. Okay, you're dropped pretty hard, so it just shows me you're probably just a lot of rotation, or just not as much energy. You hit this 0.5 mark, and then you drop down to 3, then 2, all the way to release to 1. Okay, so you went 48 to 60, so that's 12. No, yeah, 12 inches. So that's a huge difference. We got it. So it's like, you want to determine why did that happen. If you look at your hip position in front foot, 26 inches from the ground to his 24, even at finish. Let's see, at 25. So remember, he's 3 inches taller than you, yeah, and he's an inch lower than you at your hips, and he started like 4 inches higher than you. So he's done a better job of taking his hips down and putting more momentum behind his hips. So he's a bigger mass. He's moving 40 pounds more than you. He's moving similar speeds off the back leg. Obviously it was harder for him to stabilize. So he went considerably farther than his stride. Remember we saw his momentum was way out of the head up front. So that was the key. He has a bigger mass than you. He got more momentum down the mound, and he was able, even not as good a front legger than you, transferring more of that energy going forward. Got 23 inches of forward trunk tilt to your 12. Okay, and that to me, that's every ounce of velocity that he has over you is because of what he did with that trunk. That's a big league trunk. I don't see a lot of trunks and high velocity guys go under 20 inches forward at front foot strike. Okay, so if we go back and we go go back and we look at shoulder speed, it looks like his shoulder speeds peak at a 159. Your shoulder speeds peak at a 108. Elbow speeds peaked at a 2.3. His was up to a 3.18, and then wrist speeds 5. Wrist speeds 3.8. Okay, so at front foot strike, your ability to stay closed and separate was good. You're just moving with considerably less power than he is. He's moving 40 pounds heavier than you, sometimes higher speeds than you, and then he's transferring it. You're transferring it well. So it's like, I don't think you have to get better at transferring or separating. You got to get better at getting more energy going and then feeling that energy finish better at the end. So it's like the initial movement and the end movement is what you got to get better at. And the only way you're going to get better at the end movement is you got to get a lot more power down the mound in that initial movement. So you got to work on not just sitting on that back leg, but starting your hips moving with more momentum and getting your back leg force vector to support that and go with you and give you more power in the front foot.